90 for the high to go with a blend of sunshine with some clouds. Sunday, we're cooler, high of 78 to go with a 20% chance we get a much-needed shower. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Good to have you with us as we crisscross the state tonight on this big Thursday night down at Harbortown at Hilton Head for the first round of the RBC Heritage, which is practically over. You've got Ludwig Oberg, the leader, at 8 under par. Harris English and Victor Hovland a shot back. We'll go over the leaderboard in just a moment. Andrew Novak, the best of the South Carolina contingent, at 6 under today. So after losing in a playoff last year, he's followed up with a great start today. So conditions here are excellent for the tournament. No rain in the forecast. A little warm for April, but still very nice here at Harbortown. Looking forward to being here tonight and tomorrow night for that. We'll hear from the leader, and also we'll hear from the runner-up last year, Andrew Novak, the Wofford grad. We'll hear from those guys coming up tonight. So we got that covered for you. Plenty of stuff happening on the recruiting front. We'll get into that. South Carolina last night signing, getting a commitment from a free agent guard from the University of Texas. Talk about what's going on there for South Carolina, Clemson, and others coming up, plus some recruiting stuff on the football side as well. Ken Potosnak will join us later on as we go back to some hardcore hardwood here on Sports Talk, as basketball season is over for the colleges as far as performance on the floor, but now it's the performance in the boardroom, in the meeting room, in your checkbooks that is the important stuff as we go through this free agent season. Mike Morgan coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll catch up with Mike on a number of different topics. Let's welcome in Chris Bergen, who's on the other side of the state from me today. He's up in Greenville. Tonight it's the induction ceremonies for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, and got another great class of former football stars connected to the state of South Carolina going into that, Bergie. And you've had a chance to talk to several of them and mingle around with everybody today.
Yeah, rubbing elbows with the dignitaries up here in the Hotel Hartness, beautiful facility here in Greenville. As a matter of fact, our good friend Pete Yanity from Channel 7 is directly beside us, so we have to be on our best behavior tonight with Pete here. But
apparently the Hotel Hartness does not have the best Wi-Fi, Phil.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Pete
Todd Ellis, three of the guys going in to the Football Hall of Fame, Larry, and also Bob.
We lost you there for a moment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I told you we had to be on our best behavior.
Yeah.
Up here, so we are at the mercy of the hotel Wi-Fi tonight. So we'll hope it lasts for 2 hours this evening. But as I was saying, getting a chance to rub elbows with some of the really, really good football players in the history of our state, including, of course, the ones going in tonight, beginning with Jerry Butler, A.J. Green's going in, Dexter Coakley, Todd Ellis, and then Bob Jeter, who's the legacy inductee, former Green Bay Packer, and out of Union. And then also a few other people going in. Emily Beamer, Shane Beamer's wife, going in as the 2025 Humanitarian of the Year. Sammy Brown of Clemson fame, the Blanchard Rogers Trophy winner. He'll be honored tonight as well. And then they'll have some of the Bridge Builder Excellence Award finalists in here this evening as well. So a big night here at the Hotel Hartness. Should be a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy some of the conversations we had, especially with Todd Ellis. He relayed a couple of stories about playing for Joe Morrison, and has a really, really funny story about about Coach Morrison when they were out on the practice field, the old practice fields at USC, and a thunderstorm came through. Let Todd take it from there, but I think you'll enjoy that conversation.
That sounds awesome. A great group. Can't think about Jerry Butler. I mean, from little old Ware Shoals, can't think about Butler without thinking about the 1977 catch.
No doubt.
Can't think about Jerry Butler in any other way. I know he went on to have a terrific NFL career, primarily with the Buffalo Bills, but really can't think of him about any other way except the catch against South Carolina in 77 and what it meant at that time. It broke the Gamecocks' hearts, and it really sort of catapulted Clemson at that point into relevancy nationally in college football because they went on from there, and I believe they went to the Gator Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken. That was Charlie Pell, and Charlie Pell eventually left. Danny Ford took over, and a few years later the Tigers are winning a national championship. So I don't know, can you point to that moment and say that's where it all kind of started for Clemson when Butler made that catch and Fuller is really throwing it? Fuller will tell you he was throwing it away, and Butler went up and caught it in the back corner of the end zone. And, boy, what a great moment for Clemson football and what a heartbreak for the Gamecocks.
Hard to argue that point, Phil. As a matter of fact, I was eavesdropping on some of our TV colleagues. I did not get a chance to catch up with Jerry. I was disappointed because I was going to tell him I may be the only broadcaster in the state that's actually done a high school football game from Ware Shoals on the radio. I've actually done a couple from there. But, yeah, I think that is certainly a watershed moment for Clemson football. And he was asked about that. As a matter of fact, when Pete got a chance to visit with him, that was the first thing they discussed was that catch. And you're right, they went on to the Gator Bowl in 1978. And then, of course, he went on to a fabulous career in the NFL. So it not only a sort of watershed moment for Clemson football, but certainly a landmark moment for him as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, we look forward to hearing from the folks you've got. Let's talk about this first round of the RBC Heritage before we get into other stuff and catch up on what has happened today. Again, a beautiful day here on the island. The folks who went out early, those are the ones who are up on the leaderboard for the most part. So you've got Ludwig Oberg in at 8 under par. He had a bogey-free round, nothing but birdies for him. So he shoots a 63 and had a really, really strong finish. He birdied 16, he birdied 17, 30 on the back after 33 on the front. So a very nice 63 for him. Puts him at the top of the leaderboard after the first round. Then you've got tied for second, Harris English at 64 and Victor Hovland at 64. Again, you're talking about a couple of guys who had bogey-free rounds. I mean, the bogeys were not there for these guys at the top of the leaderboard. They avoided trouble for the most part and had great days. So he is in, and Hovland is in at 64. And one thing about Hovland is I was looking at some of his stuff today, some of his round. I mean, he really had the flat stick going today, I believe. Let me double-check my stats on him because I was looking at this earlier. He rolled in some long putts. He had over 112 feet worth of made putts today. And so he was rolling them in from all over the place as part of his outstanding round today. So he is tied for second with Harris English. Michael Brennan, Gary Woodland, they're in at 65. And Ryan Fox is in at 65, and also Ricky Fowler and Andrew Novak. Andrew Novak in with a 65 today, 6 under par. Novak, of course, a Charleston native, Wofford grad, lost in a playoff to Justin Thomas here last year. And he did have one single bogey on his round at number 8. Otherwise, he had birdies at 1 and 5 and 6, 11, 12, 13, and a birdie at 17 as well. So terrific round for him, picking up where he left off last year. Of course, remember last year, Justin Thomas shot a 61 in round 1. I mean, he went out and set a big early pace in this tournament. Novak had to come from way back. He was 3 under after, so he was 7 shots down after the first round last year, and ended up catching Thomas at 17 under. And they ended up going to a playoff. So Novak, another good start for him. And Matt Fitzpatrick is also tied for fourth at 65. I believe Fitzpatrick is a former winner here as well. Am I right? I think he's the guy. I believe he had that fantastic shot on 18 a few years ago when he won here, if my memory's right. Robert McIntyre, who I'm not sure they're going to invite him back to Augusta after his behavior last week. Anyway, he comes out and shoots 66. He's tied for 10th. And you've got Sung J M at 66, Sepp Straka also at 66, Daniel Berger, and Siwoo Kim's got a bunch tied for 10th at 66. And some of the others to mention, Brian Campbell from Bluffton, a 68. Scotty Scheffler, Scotty Scheffler, he didn't tear it up today. He didn't tear it up, but he's right in Scotty Scheffler territory, which is under par, in position to make a move tomorrow and get deeply into this thing. He went out in 35, came in 33. He bogeyed the first, and he bogeyed number 7. The rest of his numbers, pars and birdies, a birdie at 3, a birdie at 5, birdie at 6, birdie at 11, and a birdie at 15. So, nothing crazy by Scheffler, but again, coming off the Masters, a runner-up finish there, kind of getting everything back together. He's probably not totally satisfied with his round today, but still, 3 under, you don't discount him at any point. So he's tied for 20th. Lucas Glover's another shot back, along with Jordan Spieth at 2 under 69. Jacob Bridgman did not have a good day. Number 3 in the FedEx Cup standings coming in because he had such a hot start to the season. But a 75 for the Clemson grad today, and only one birdie on his card. That was at number 9. Bogey at 6, bogey at 8, bogey at 12, double bogey at 14. Double bogey at 14 for him. And so he had a little bit of a struggle. Had a penalty on that hole because he hit his drive into the water. There you go. That's why he had a penalty. So a double bogey there. And he parred in the last 4 holes to finish at 75. So he has got a little bit of work ahead of him as he is tied for 80th. So that's what the top of the leaderboard looks like here in the first round of the RBC Heritage at Harbortown inside Sea Pines. And we'll hear from Andrew Novak. We'll hear from Ludwig Åberg, the Swede, coming up for you a little bit later. Do you want Bergie Plummer? Do you want the Swedish version of Åberg's post-round, or do you want the English version?
I think that'd be great. I think that'd be outstanding. Did he do any of the interview in Swedish? I'm sure there's international media there. When
they do international players like that, they'll do them in their native tongue, and if they speak English, they'll do it in English as well. Awesome. So you got it both ways. Okay.
I will say this, though, and you talked about the course conditions today, just a quick point. I mean, you have to realize you've got to go low tomorrow if you're sitting around even par, because I'm guessing the cut line is probably going to be somewhere around 1-2 under par after tomorrow. So, or is this a non-cut event now that it's been elevated?
It is a signature event, and it just depends on the tournament. Some of the signature tournaments have a no-cut, and a limited field, and some do have a cut. The no-cut events include this one. So the RBC Heritage is a no-cut event. So you're not under the complete pressure and stress that you would be otherwise. You're going to be hanging around. But this is
if you don't get out of the even par realm, you're not even coming anywhere close to winning this event. I mean, we're looking at probably 20 under the way they shot today.
This is a $20 million purse.
Ooh, nice.
For this thing. Yeah, $20 million purse. The winner, I believe last year the winner took home over $4 million. I think Novak finishing second took home over $2 million. And this is all the result of LIV, the signature events.
You're right. Yep.
The offshoot of answering the pressure from LIV to give the PGA players something to chew on. Okay, you don't have to go over there, but we'll have these signature events and we'll raise the purses and give you a huge check, if you win. I mean, even the Masters had a huge payout to the winner, to McIlroy last week. They increased their payout as well. So that's what you got to do right now while the LIV is still hanging around. Don't know if it'll be around next year, but they say it's is still hanging around right now, though the Saudis are pulling that money out to and the Saudis are also divesting themselves from some other sporting interests I was reading today. So they got other things on their mind right now. All right, let's update what's happening in the basketball free agent world, and we'll go into more details in recruiting coming up a little bit later on. But from following things last night and today, last night South Carolina got a commitment, a potential signing from Camden Heide. He's 6'4". He's from Texas, and he committed to the Gamecocks. I don't know if he actually came in for a visit or not. Haven't seen any evidence of that, but he committed to South Carolina to give them their second pickup, both in the backcourt. Corey Mincy, of course, the one out of George Mason. Gamecocks are working some others. It looks like Alvaro Figueres, the 6'10" from Iowa, reports are he's headed to Louisville. All right, so that one looks like it's going to walk out on the Gamecocks. However, Jamie Shaw of On3 is predicting the Gamecocks are going to get a 6'10" from the Big Ten, from Wisconsin, Alexis Bilioxis. I always get it right the second time. Alexis Bilioxis. Alexis, it might be Oxis. Let's do this. Bilioxis. I think it's Bilioxis. Alexis Bilioxis from Wisconsin. He's 6'10", and saw a little video on him. He likes to shoot the three. He's not a big-time scorer, but apparently had a pretty good finish to his season and had some moments in the NCAA tournament. So they're in on him. They're also, along with Clemson, in on 7'2", Anton Bonk from Charlotte, who's also looking at Kansas, Michigan State, Cincinnati, and NC State, along with Clemson. So both of them are in on him. South Carolina still waiting on some news from Rowan Brumbaugh from Tulane, the 6'4" kid. Indiana, Maryland, SMU, the others on him. And they are also involved with Cruz Davis from Hofstra. He was the player of the year in the CAA after averaging over 20 points per game. Coming off a visit to Texas Tech, reportedly is going to visit South Carolina, also Kentucky and Grand Canyon. So he's a guard from Hofstra that they are looking at. As for Clemson, all quiet on the Tigers. They have, of course, Cole Serta, who has signed 6'5" from Notre Dame. They're still waiting on news from Dylan Faulkner from Sanford. You would think, Bergie, that with the assistant coach from Sanford coming over to Clemson to be the GM, that this would be a no-brainer to get Dylan Faulkner in the house at Clemson, but it hasn't happened yet.
Should have set that up in the trade package. We'll take the coach and one of the players for two guys to be named later.
Yeah. Yep. Clemson's been mentioned with Bowden Kapke, 6'10" out of Boston College, but apparently he's headed to Nebraska, not official, but that seems to be the word. And then, of course, Anton Bonk, we mentioned as well, 7'2" from Charlotte, looking at the Tigers. So that's kind of where things stand as of this afternoon on a lot of those folks we've been following for South Carolina and Clemson on the free agent side in basketball. Okay, let's run to the break. We'll come back with more in just a moment. We're going to hear from your leader, Ludwig Oberg, and we got stuff from up in Greenville with Berkey and stuff going on there, the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. That is a great event. Of course, don't forget, about a month from now, we'll have the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremonies in Columbia with Steve Spurrier among that group going in. We'll be back in just a moment.
It might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk Media Network on a big Thursday night from here at Harbortown as well as from up in Greenville. Lots to talk about, lots to follow along. We got Clemson baseball tonight, Bergie. Start of a big 3-game series for the Tigers at Virginia. If they're ever going to get it going this season and become a factor in the ACC race, they need to get that thing going starting tonight and win this series. This is probably a must-win series for them if they're going to have any kind of a chance in the ACC, any kind of a chance to be in the conversation for hosting a regional. They got to get it going.
Well, I agree with you, Phil. And when you ran through the projections of the upcoming NCAA tournament last night, it had Clemson sort of sitting right on the bubble, maybe on the outside looking in. They can't wait any longer. Their margin for error, they've let that go by the boards with some opportunities, especially in the North Carolina series, where, quite frankly, I can make the argument they were the better team in 2 of the 3 games. They ended up losing 2 of the 3 games. Mm-hmm. So, and then Georgia Tech, I think, is the best team in the ACC. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They are Omaha good. But so the Tigers have had a tough start to the ACC, but part of it has been their schedule. However, their margin for error is gone. They're much like the Gamecocks. They've got to win series the rest of the way.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, what a year they're having. Their first-year head coach, 15-3. North Carolina's 13-5. Boston College, I tell you what a job Enter Donato has done up there. And if South Carolina, if Jeremiah Donati, I don't know who his contacts are in baseball, who he's going to lean on. If he decides not to hire Monty Lee, which would be my number one choice. If you heard Monty Lee on our show last night, how could you not think Monty Lee could get it done in South Carolina?
No doubt.
And if you did not hear that interview, you need to go find it. We should put it on the web. We didn't put it on the website, did we? Well, I'll put it on the website tonight. You need to listen to that interview because he was fantastic. I mean, he was forthright and open-minded and direct. And, he's as good as anybody you can hire. Okay, seriously. You've already tried the Hall of Fame approach. That didn't work. And why not somebody who knows what it takes to win at South Carolina, to win in this state, and is right there for you for a very smooth transition. But anyway, Todd Interdonato, he's got Boston College in third place, 11-7 and 27-12. And you know what he did when he was at Wofford. So Virginia's 10-8, and then Clemson is 5-10 in the league, and Tigers are 24-14. You know what, Bergie? If I had told you, here it is, it's April 16th, right? If I had told you in January, if I had taken you to, what's your favorite drinking spot there in the PD? What's Mamma Mia's Cafe on Palmetto Street? What's your favorite drinking hole?
I was thinking Apple Annie's in Florence, but I'll take Mamma Mia's. Yeah, that works.
I'm not even sure there is a Mamma Mia's. But if I had taken you there on January 1st and said, Bergie, on April 16th, South Carolina would be next to last in the SEC baseball standings, and Clemson would be next to last in the ACC baseball standings. I mean, what would you would have thought I had been drinking quite a bit, but that's the case. That's the case.
I would have thought
Clemson's 5-10.
I would have thought, first off, you've got that confused with basketball season, Phil. We've moved into baseball. And there's no way I would have bought that, especially going into this season, because we thought at the time, back in January, that Palmineri had fixed all the issues that were surrounding the USC baseball program, and they were going to be better. And Clemson, we thought, would be an Omaha-level team. Nothing could have been further from the truth.
Well, I don't know what, either can do to fix it right now, but they better get it fixed in a hurry. Mike Morgan will have some thoughts on that when we come back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. We are clear this evening, the low dipping down to 63. Tomorrow, just like today, sunshine 91 the high. For Saturday, it's our warmest day, 94 the high, to go with a blend of sunshine with some clouds. Sunday, we're cooler, high of 78, go with a 20% chance we get a much-needed shower. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Start with SRN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A 10-day ceasefire announced by President Trump and agreed on by Lebanon and Israel has started. Barrages of gunshots rang out across Beirut early Friday as residents fired into the air to celebrate the beginning of the truce. The two neighboring countries held their first direct diplomatic talks in decades on Tuesday in Washington after more than a month of war between Israel and the Iran-backed Lebanon-based Hezbollah militant group. A looming jet fuel shortage in Europe and Asia sparked by the Iran war and the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz could further upend world travel within weeks if oil doesn't start flowing soon. That means higher airfares and flight cancellations. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 115 points, the Nasdaq rose 86. This is SRN News.
If you're juggling multiple credit card balances, you know how quickly high interest can add up and how stressful it can become. Now through June 30th, 2026, well-qualified borrowers can pause interest when they transfer credit card balances and enjoy 0% APR for 12 months. A balance transfer can simplify your life, making it easier to focus and manage your budget. This limited time offer can help you move forward with confidence. Upon expiration, APR will then revert to the standard variable APR, currently 12.5% to 17.90%. If credit criteria are not met, 17.9% APR will apply. Visit apply.foundersfcu.com to get started today. Not a Founders member yet? Stop by an office near you or visit us online at foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify for membership. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Palmetto State Armory is on a mission of making freedom available to all Americans. And with retail stores across South Carolina and a fully stocked online shop, we're delivering freedom coast to coast. PSA is an American-made and veteran-owned firearms company built for those who believe in the Second Amendment and the strength of self-reliance. From suppressors, firearms, ammo, and accessories to fishing gear and apparel, we're more than a gun company. We're a movement. Visit us in store or online at PalmettoStateArmory.com. Palmetto State Armory, American-made for life.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Paliak, the new owner of Columbia Screen Printing and Design, formerly Bardak Design and Tease Me. We've rebranded, but our experienced staff and quality results haven't changed. We proudly serve the Columbia area with top-notch garments and design, and offer free delivery on our local orders. Visit us on Rosewood Drive near the fairgrounds, or check us out online. For t-shirts, sweatshirts, jerseys, koozies, and more, call Columbia Screen Printing and Design at 254-7940. We're local, fast, and ready to wow you.
What was life like in the South Carolina backcountry during the American Revolution? Find out at Stories of the Backcountry, Fairfield in the Revolution, a 2-day living history event in Winnsboro. Saturday, April 25th from 10 to 5 and Sunday, the 26th from 12 to 3. Experience live reenactments, historic encampments, children's activities, and meet 18th century settlers. Learn more at southcarolina250.com/Fairfield. Sponsored in part by the South Carolina American Revolution Sesquicentennial Commission.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut down here on the island, Harbortown, for the RBC Heritage. First round in the books. Ludwig Oberg at 8 under par. Harris English, Victor Hovland at 7 under par. And in just a moment, Mike Morgan will be joining us. Another edition of Morgan on the Move here on Sports Talk. A couple of other quick notes. Clemson today officially announced that they have hired Chris Hollander as an assistant coach. That had been reported going back a week or so, but they made that official today. So I do believe that closes out Brad Brownell's reshuffling of his staff, as some have moved on to other places, some have retired. According to John Blau, though they don't have the official term sheets, Hollander will make $325,000. And the other hire, the earlier hire, which was Andre Morgan, is going to make $225,000. Another earlier hire, Warner, will be at $400,000, and the other earlier hire, Morgan, not Mike Morgan, but that would be Andre Morgan at $325,000. So $1.68 million for Brad Brownell's basketball staff, 4 assistants, and a GM. I don't know, that sounds a little bit low compared to some of the other big spenders in college basketball. Sounds a little bit low to me. Let's see what Mike Morgan thinks about that and other things. College basketball world, the Atlanta Braves, who are off to a really good start for them so far this year, and other stuff. It's time for a visit with Mike Morgan. Morgan on the Move, brought to you by Play It Again Sports in Harbison. Chris Mosley runs the best sporting goods shop in the Palmetto State with all the things you'll want to buy, sell, or trade. Best selection, best prices, great friendly staff. Play It Again Sports in Columbia.
Morgan on the Move, driven by JT's Kia on Greystone, Killian, and Rock Hill.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Mike Day.
All right, good to have Mike Morgan back with us here on Sports Talk. Mike, how are you? Good to have you back with us.
It's good to be back. I'm doing well. I was just crunching the numbers you were talking about there. Do we have a breakdown of the per diem for the coaching staff when they go on the road?
$17.47.
Okay. How about a company car? Have we been able to finalize maybe a JT's Kia for each member of the staff?
It's Clemson, so they each get a John Deere tractor.
Okay. And complimentary cell phones, I assume?
Well, it's the flip phone. They do get flip phones.
Okay, well, that's still cell coverage. I don't care how the phone works as long as you're paying the bill for the line. Unlimited data, I would assume. So, you take that 1.6, you throw in the perks, you got to throw in the perks now, Phil. You of all people who hasn't paid for a thing in your life, you know about perks.
I'm all about the perks. I'm all about the perks, Mr.
Goodness.
Free Ride. So seriously, though, how do you think that compares with the more prominent basketball staffs in the country?
Well, it's a good question. One thing I noticed, what a lot of schools are doing. For example, I just saw that Vanderbilt hired Rodney Terry as an assistant coach. Now, Rodney, who I worked with this year on a few ESPN games, Rodney was, of course, the Texas coach before that. He got let go. He went into broadcasting. And I'm sure somebody with Rodney's qualifications could pick up a head coaching job at a mid-major. But what these assistants now are making, I don't know what Rodney's making. I'm guessing it's pretty good because Vanderbilt all of a sudden has a lot of money. Look at what Will Wade did. He hired Rick Stansberry, the former Mississippi State coach, and Damon Stoudemire, the coach that just got fired at Georgia Tech. Now, again, both those guys could have gotten mid-major jobs, but financially speaking, they looked at it, and apparently it pays a little bit better to be an assistant coach right now at some of these Power 5, Power 6 programs. So I would say that might be on the low side, only from the standpoint of I look at some of these names that are getting assistant coach jobs, and I say to myself, wow. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Are you at all surprised going down to South Carolina that Lamont Paris has hired one guy to fill in a spot on his staff? He still has another spot open. There was speculation and talk about them hiring a GM, but that hasn't happened yet. And I'm watching the Gamecocks go through the free agent market, and, I mean, we'll see how things turn out for them, Mike. There's still time. But, I mean, the Mincy signing looks pretty good. This guy was a big-time scorer at George Mason. Camden Heide from Texas, not a big-time scorer. They say he's an excellent shooter, but he only took 100 shots. He only took 100 shots. Total 100 shots last season. He made about 43%, I think it was, from three. So he can shoot it, but again, he averaged less than 5 points a game. I think he's not a primetime guy coming out of Texas. Now maybe he will be at South Carolina, but my point is, they missed on the big guy from SMU. They missed on Alan Spack if they did make a hard push for him. They missed on Carter Knox. They're going to miss on
Carter go?
He went to Louisville. Looks like they're going to miss on Fulgaris. They're going to miss on Fulgaris, who's going to end up at Louisville. So, so anyway, and Lamont Paris needs to strike big in this free agent market, does he not?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, look, if you believe the reports, they got bumped up to 10 to 12 million. 10 to 12 million last year was kind of the mean income or payroll for SEC schools. That number has gone up again. It just keeps on climbing. It's unreal. It just keeps on climbing. So I don't know. I do like. I think you sold the Texas kid a little short. I had a few of his games. He is the only reason his point total is not more. It's not because he can't play at this level. They just they had a big time scorer. They had a big guy. There just wasn't room for him to be the kind of a volume shooter. At Carolina, I promise you, he will be more of a volume shooter. There's especially if this, depending on who they get the rest of the way. To your point, if they're not getting these big time, and I like the Mincy kid too. I mean, really, if you were to contrast this with last year's portal class, which honestly was disastrous. I mean, it just wasn't good. It didn't meet the bar, and that the low payroll obviously was a factor in that. This year, it's much better so far, but is it good enough? Is what your question is, and I think what Carolina fans are going to be asking going into next season. You know, is this going to be another year where you open up the preseason prognostications, which are based totally on talent?
Mm-hmm.
They're not based on coaching. They're not based on X's and O's. They're not based on who runs the best full court press, who runs the best flex offense. They're based on talent. And for the last few years, and I realized one of them, you overachieved and made it to the tournament. Nobody then knew who Colin Murray Boyles was or how talented he was. Nobody knew what a big impact Talon Cooper was. But for the most part, from just a raw talent standpoint, every time people like you or I go to SEC Media Days, there's Carolina preseason 15 or 16 in a 16-team league.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be right there again if you don't pick it up in terms of these next, I don't know, how many guys they have left, Phil? A half a dozen to sign? 5 or 6? So your point is a good one.
They've only got 3 coming back. So if you look at their roster as it stands right now, as they put this thing together for the next basketball season, they have got plenty of space on their roster to add players. So they only had 3 coming back, I believe, and that one of those was Sparkman. And not to take anything away from him, but I mean you can't count on that young man to be a savior for you in the SEC. So really only 2 major contributors coming back. So, and Mike, I also had read from one of the insiders that covers the Gamecocks floated the idea of $15 million being the bar, the top bar, the ceiling
and that might be right.
Spend.
I have heard that too. It's one of those things where, like, you know, when you were a kid and you asked your parents for some money and you went and, I don't know, back then we played video games at an arcade. Like, you probably went to like a malt shop and, you know, got caramels or something. I don't know. But, well, you know,
was that a swing at me? Was that a shot in the dark?
No, it's just showing your generation. It's okay. Those were the golden years. Those were the golden years. But you know, but then you would come back and say, you know, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. Can you give me another $10, another $20? That's not enough. And that's what these coaches are doing, because the goal line keeps getting moved. The goalposts keep getting moved. Really, both. Everything's getting moved.
Everything's moved.
Everything's moving. So you ask for this much, and the AD says, "Well, that's a big increase from a year ago." And you say, "I know, but this will make us better." Well, then you get that, and then you realize all your competition got more than that, and so now you're going back to the piggy bank and asking for more money. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it winds up at 15. Here's my thing, not that anybody cares what my strategy on all that would be, but it's basketball. You don't need a dozen $1 million plus players. I'd like to just get 3 dudes. And then if you got to go to the bargain basement after that, go to the bargain basement. But right now, you've got, again, I like the pickups. I wouldn't say they're dudes. I'd say they're good additions, better than what you had last year, certainly. But you still need something that's like a real eye-opener that says, oh, man, that's the kind of player that we're watching the competition get. Not just Arkansas, not just Kentucky, not just Florida, but some of these other programs, like a Vanderbilt, you know, like a Missouri. They're getting a lot of these type of players, and so if you're Carolina and you want to keep up with the Joneses, it would be a good idea to follow suit.
Well, I mean, okay, it's good if you're not getting dudes, just don't get duds. All right, they had too many non-dudes. They had too many duds last year. Let me say this, because Bergey's going to jump in and follow up on this, because I'm mentioning football here, but I saw something yesterday, a comment from a coach to a reporter who said that a national championship football roster now is upwards of $40 million. And then somebody else, another reporter, chimed in that might have been one of the attorney-type guys who chimed in, you know, they're going to be hitting $100 million rosters in college football not too far down the line. And Bergie, go ahead because you had a follow-up on that.
Well, and that was exactly my question to Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move with us. It was Front Office Sports who actually interviewed the Alabama football GM who said that college football programs, Mike, are spending, quote, probably more than $40 million to build a championship roster.
Right.
Josh Pate followed up this morning and said he's heard $60 million is a possibility, with multiple GMs telling him that the first $100 million roster is imminent within the current system. I mean, that cannot be sustainable, can it?
Gosh, I mean, I want to say no, but like every time I think the money's gonna run out, somebody just seems to find it at a lot of these schools. I don't know if it's sustainable or not. I just know it keeps going up every year. Every single year, we hear, well, it's going to stabilize, it's going to stop. The expression themselves comes to mind. Like, I even hear, don't fatigue, but
Okay, I think we've got little cell issue going on there with Mike. I couldn't tell if that was on my end or his end. Plummer says it's on his end. Mike, you got a cell going down. If you can get to a little bit higher plateau there. Maybe come out of the men's room and see if you can get some fresh air out there somewhere.
Are you on the bag phone?
We've lost you.
That was oh my goodness.
Now there you are. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you were all chipmunky. So you went chipmunky on us.
Oh, well, we can't have that. No disrespect to Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. No, I don't know where you lost me, but I don't think it stops anytime soon, guys. I think that first off, let's be completely honest. The money coming in has never been greater, and that keeps going up. So the TV money goes up every year, the Booster Club money keeps going up every year, and the ticket prices keep going up every year. Popular to come on the show and and against high ticket prices, but it doesn't matter. They keep.
Yeah, we got a bad sell. We're gonna say bye because you got into cell hell there, and we can't hear you. So, Mike, thank you,
right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, great stuff as always. Catch you next week, Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move, needs to move out of the cell area he's in. One thing I wanted to say, and great stuff from Mike. Good question by you. I was thinking about this today. You know how I feel about the rating system. I think it's a bunch of BS. I don't think you need to have a rating by your name, a ranking by your name to show people you can play ball, whatever it happens to be, but that's become part of the sports scene now on the college level, the high school level. And this dawned on me overnight. I don't know if this is a unique thought or not, but think about this. For all the people who, two things, all the people who love the ranking systems and push that as being so important, and all the people who pushed for players to get paid. Well, what's happening and what can be used? Every player's got an agent. What does an agent go to a general manager and a coach with his player? Oh, look here. Rivals has my boy, or girl as the case may be, but we'll stick with the guys. Rivals has my boy as a 5-star. Well, as a 5-star, we're going to start our negotiations at about $350,000 because he's a 5-star. Now, the reason I bring this up as potential as a potential problem is that can be very misleading. Number one, who's determining this individual is a 5-star or a 4-star? What do these people know? What makes them experts in making that decision? The ranking now takes on a whole nother level of usability because now agents can go to the front office people and say, hey, my guy, he's a 4-star, 5-star guy, so we're starting off at a certain level here. Don't come at us with some offer you might make to a 2-star guy. See what I'm saying? And that could be as misleading and as bogus as anything that's going on in this process.
Well, and as I was asking the question to Mike, I thought this was actually a dumb question to pose to him, especially coming on the heels of the Money Coach being on last night, Phil, and talking about private equity starting to pump in millions and millions of dollars into college athletics, especially with the Learfield situation that we explored last night. So maybe $100 million the for college football is not as outlandish as first thought, especially if you're going to have private equity backing up that, and it brings, as the Money Coach pointed out, the key factor: are they successful? Well, if you pump in $100 million to your football payroll and they go win a national championship, maybe they view that as money very well spent.
But I read a little bit of a story today on Dustin May, the coach at Michigan, and the fact that free agency in college basketball opened 2 days after they won the national championship. Basically, he's had no time to even relax and think about having won a national championship.
Yeah, it's sad.
And my point is, what's the point then? I mean, seriously, what's the point? Is the point to have a ring? Is the point to have a parade? I mean, if you can't you go back and enjoy for a period of time what you have accomplished because you got to jump right into this nonsense, I don't even understand what the point is anymore, Where's the satisfaction come from? I guess it's there somewhere. But going back to the star ranking system and how that can be abused in the free agency market, can you see how agents can use that to leverage upward the offers they expect to get? I'm telling you, it's something else to think about. Be back in a moment.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia. If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage 1,000,000-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe.
If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia.
We're serious about saving you money.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen, back in our studios in Columbia. Haven't really pushed for calls, but people are calling. So let's go to Tiger Bryan. Tiger Bryan from up in Lancaster. Tiger Bryan, welcome to Sports Talk.
Man, how y'all doing tonight?
We're doing just fine.
That guy said, you was making too much money. I said, and about the Porter John, that was you should have trademarked that years ago when you first started. You remember that?
There's a lot of things I should have done.
I'm going to have shirts made up and say, listen to the corn, about the Porter John, go Tigers. They never so they good.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Hey, you know what, though? Hey, back in the day, 35 years ago, when I was calling in, me and you was butting in, that was a good days because I'd put it on my calendar when it was signing day for the kids, the high school kids to go to college. You all night long, you did this script. I mean, and back then, about 1 or 2 5 stars got our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you put the ball out there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
It went crazy with that money, you know what I mean? But I was going to tell y'all, the old man turned 65, 63 Friday. I tried to call in, but I couldn't get it.
Who turned?
My birthday phone.
Who turned?
I'm 63 Friday. I tried to call in because y'all know me say my birthday. You say me happy birthday.
Well, I didn't realize it was your birthday. I know you were on the phone and we were trying to get to you, and you were gone. Well, we can wish you a belated happy birthday. You know.
Yeah, when Mama takes care of your birthday, I had y'all on the second. Y'all on the back burner.
I can understand that. All right, Tiger Brian. Well, happy birthday. 63, that's a very fine number. Remember, 63, that's the new 43. Keep that in mind. And we'll be back top of the hour.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Speaking with reporters, President Trump says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a temporary ceasefire.
It's very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal. We're going to have a meeting, first time in 44 years. And Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
That ceasefire is now in effect. Displaced families began moving towards southern Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs, despite warnings by officials not to attempt to return to their homes until it became clear whether the ceasefire would hold. The president was also asked when Americans can expect relief from high gas prices.
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon, with the danger that entails. So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days.
A former candidate for governor of Virginia takes his own life and that of his wife. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has this report.
Police say that Justin Fairfax, Virginia's former lieutenant governor and a rising star in the Democratic Party, before his career was derailed by sexual assault allegations, killed his wife before killing himself. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis says the couple was found dead at the Northern Virginia home in Annandale after their teenage son called 911 shortly after midnight Thursday. Fairfax and his wife, Dr. Serena Fairfax, were going through a divorce, and Fairfax was served recently with papers that indicated when he was next to appear in court. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
A looming jet fuel shortage in Europe and Asia, sparked by the Iran war and the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, could further upend world travel within weeks if oil doesn't start flowing soon. That means higher airfares and flight cancellations. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 115 points. The Nasdaq rose 86. More at townhall.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Mortgage rates have dropped for a second straight week in the U.S.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage eased this week to 6.3%. This is the second straight weekly drop. The modest pullback in rates echoes a decline in the long-term U.S. government bond yields that lenders use as a guide to pricing home loans. Bond yields began to ease last week after the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. The volatility in mortgage rates since the start of the war has dampened the start of the spring home buying season. I'm Alex Vega.
A federal commission has approved the design concept for the triumphal arch that President Trump wants to build at an entrance to the nation's capital. The 250-foot tall arch would rise on federal land on the Virginia side of the Potomac River at the end of Memorial Bridge from the Lincoln Memorial in Washington. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. We are clear this evening, a low dipping down to 63. Tomorrow, just like today, sunshine, 91 the high. For Saturday, it's our warmest day, 94 the high, to go with a blend of sunshine with some clouds. Sunday, we're cooler, high of 78, go with a 20% chance we get a much-needed shower. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back with you. Sports Talk Media Network here on a big Thursday night. Been a very busy night, and a busy hour is ahead. So glad that you're with us wherever you have picked us up across the state tonight on one of our great affiliates. Maybe you're catching us on one of our streams, YouTube, Facebook, X, however you got us. We're glad you're with us. Going to do some hardcore hardwood, talking about this free agency stuff with Coach Potosnak coming up in just a moment. Let me update a couple of things before we get to that. Again, here at Harbortown after the first round of the RBC Heritage. This is the 58th edition of the RBC Heritage. Only had 6 eagles on the course today. Only 1 eagle on the back 9 at number 15, of course, the lone par 5 on the back, but only 6 eagles all day long. I guess that's a relatively small number. But we had a lot of good scoring today because the conditions are terrific. Again, this is a no-cut event. It's a signature event on the PGA Tour, so it's a no-cut event. And we have, after the first round, we are looking at 53 golfers under par, 53 of the 82 in the field. 53 of the 82 are under par. Okay, so we're going to have a great 3 days ahead with a very tight event. I see Sam Burns is in at -1, coming off his Masters showing where he was good for a while, kind of drifted there towards the end. Russell Henley's in at -3. Again, at the top of the leaderboard after the first round, it's Ludwig Oberg at 8 under par, Harris English and Victor Hovland at 7 under par. Michael Brennan, former Wake Forest golfer, and Gary Woodland, feel-good story for this year, of course, coming back from his serious illness. Ryan Fox, Ricky Fowler, Andrew Novak, former Wofford star, Matt Fitzpatrick, they're all at 6 under par. Robert McIntyre, Sung J M, Sepp Straka, Daniel Berger, and Siwoo Kim all at 5 under par. So you got 14 within, let's see, that's you got 14 -8 is your lead, and you got 14. So you got 14 within 3 shots of the lead. So pretty tight leaderboard going into round number 2. Also want to mention we got the ACC Women's Golf Championship getting underway today, and that is being played in Wilmington, North Carolina. Stanford has the lead at 23 under par. They've played 2 rounds today. Stanford's at 23 under. SMU and Duke are next at 12 under. along with NC State. So a three-way tie for second. SMU, Duke, NC State. Wake Forest is fifth at 4 under, and Clemson is in. Nope. Clemson's still on the course. Clemson is playing its last 4 holes. The Tigers are even par, and they're tied for 6th. The SEC Women's Golf Championship gets underway tomorrow. I don't know if Coach Ken Potosnak's much of a golfer, but he does know his hardcore hardwood here on Sports Talk.
Hardcore Hardwood with Ken Potosnak on Sports Talk.
Yeah, just like I said, Hardcore Hardwood here on Sports Talk. Let's welcome in Coach Ken. And good evening, sir. How engrossed are you in the basketball free agency frenzy out there?
Coach Phil, I wish you would send me down to the quarter deck on the 18th hole at the Heritage. You put me on point with the agents and coaches and that this week, but we're doing good. Yeah, we've got some of it figured out for this week. How are you?
Good. I saw a figure of over 4,000 basketball players in the portal, John. 4,000. Can there be that many unhappy basketball players?
I probably that number. I think there's 2,400 in the men's Division I portal. But when you take into consideration Division II and men's Division I, it'll get to that number. And I'm sure by the 15th day in the final day of the portal period, it'll get pretty close to 3,000 for men's Division I itself.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the last half hour, thinking primarily about football, but it can be applied to basketball as well. So you're an agent for a player, all right? And this player has been identified as a 5-star guy or maybe even a 4-star guy. When you negotiate with a team, how quickly does that come up from the agent where he says, look, now you're dealing with a 5-star guy that's been identified as a 5-star player, so here is where we're going to start. Here's where our figure starts, as compared to where a 3-star, 2-star guy. I say this to you acknowledging that I don't follow the star rankings. I don't believe in the star rankings. I don't use the star rankings. And my point is, in negotiations, these rankings can be used, and the player might not be as good as that ranking would indicate, but what can the general manager do to counter that?
Well, I always say this. I always say the game is played on 94 feet, and the game is evaluated on 94 feet. I'm sure you could say the game is evaluated on 100 yards. So whether it's a star system, a number system, these different, metrics or numbers or stars that are put out there to the general public as guys are ranked, I don't think head coaches who are in charge of their program have the NIL money and revenue share to give are really looking at that. They've got to evaluate the performance or potential, based on their own 2 eyes and their ears and what they hear about the kid and what they've seen and watching him. So you've got two different scenarios here. You have high school kids who have a star rating or who have a numerical rating, and many of them that are the higher ranked players and deservingly so. They certainly are commanding a certain dollar figure by many of the agencies, and there's a starting dollar figure for those kids. But I think what's really getting interesting now is the starters in the Power Five, the true starters in Division I, who are productive in winning players. Those productive and winning players, particularly centers and point guards, putting themselves in the portal now and having their agencies just start the bidding auction for them is getting so out of hand. The agents love it. The kids love it. And quite frankly, the schools right now are forced to pay unbelievable sums of money if they want to keep a player and continue to win. It's not about loyalty. It's not about academics. It's not about, they talk about student athletes. It's none of that. It's about money. And the teams that are paying the highest figures can retain the best players, or they can go get the pieces that they need to get their team right for the coming season.
Would you? I said the other night, if you come up short with the veteran free agents and the big money you're throwing after some of these guys, why wouldn't you just take the money, the big money, and go after the best high school player in the country that's available? For example, the guy that just decommitted from North Carolina, who's supposed to be very, very good. Why wouldn't you just go after him if you're a Clemson or a South Carolina, let's say, and throw together a huge package and see if you can bring in a guy considered to be like the best high school player in the country and build around this guy for a year?
Well, if you go back to last year and you look at the dollar figures that were supposedly put out there, I think you'd mentioned this prior to me, for a kid like DeBonsta. What A.J. DeBonsta got from BYU, one player, him at BYU, got more money than probably the entire roster at a Power 5 school in the state of South Carolina. So when you talk about, going to throw your resources into one player, you may not have enough money for the rest of the team. So when you talk about recruiting high school guys now, not recruiting, buying high school guys now, paying high school guys now, the other part of it is you can be a really, really good coach. You can do a great job evaluating talent and potential. But you also, I think every one of the coaches now is going into this knowing that this is an 8 or 9 month process. And you got to figure you're going to have a player for 8 or 9 months. And can he give you enough? Can that high school player, can that freshman give you enough in the 8 or 9 month period that you're probably only going to have him for to win enough games to be competitive and ultimately keep your job.
Ultimately keep your job. I mean, really. I read something today, didn't read the whole story, but it was on Dusty May at Michigan. I guess somebody was doing a follow-up here a little over a week after winning the national championship. And basically, the guy said he's had no chance, no time to enjoy winning the national championship because he had to jump right into building his roster for next year. And I just thought to myself, well, that can't be any fun for a head coach, can it?
Well, probably the fun part for him is he's probably one of the handful of programs in the country that has unlimited monies to go buy the roster that he needs to contend once again. Certainly deserving of that. Certainly did a great job coaching his team. It always has. But when he was able to get Cadeau and Zara, terrific point guard from North Carolina in the transfer, 7'3" center from UCLA. I would love to see the actual figures that Michigan paid for those two guys. And I'd like to see the figure that Michigan is paying those two guys to retain them for next season, because that's the other part of the equation. Not only do you have to, go potentially get a whole new roster in some Division I situations, you have to then go in and try to barter with agents and barter with families of kids you just won a national championship with to try to keep them there so that they don't go to the next school to get $500,000 or $1 million more, because the free agency cycle in college basketball never stops, whereas in the NBA, where there's actual rules and guidelines in a governing body, it does stop, and that's why you can have, a true league. I'm not sure what college basketball is right now. given the lack of rules and the lack of regulations.
So you said you'd like to know what they're paying. Is that for you personally, or do you believe that these NIL deals should be made public for everyone to be able to see what's being negotiated, what's been signed?
Well, personally, I think all year long we've talked about who's doing a great coaching job, or, how is this team doing so well, or, why isn't this team doing so good? To me, it's not even fair to a coach, say a coach within a Power 5 school within the state. Some of these Power 5 schools in the state of South Carolina getting nowhere near, okay? They're not even, near the midpoint of the league itself. So if you got, 16 teams in the SEC or 18 teams in the ACC, you've got to get to the middle point or higher to have a chance money-wise to compete within the league. And if you're at the bottom end of that, your administrations and your fans and everybody has to know what you have in comparison to the middle of the league or the top of the league, so that you can truly be evaluated. I don't know how you can evaluate a coach now or evaluate a program if the resources are so little in comparison, to others at the top of your league.
Visiting with Coach Kim Potosnak, hardcore hardwood, for a couple of more minutes. So I don't know how much you might know about some of these guys, but let me just throw three names at you. Of the three free agents accumulated by Clemson and South Carolina thus far, did you get a chance to see Cole Serta from Notre Dame, who's now at Clemson? Did you get a chance to watch him?
I did. He's an excellent wing guard. He's a great shooter, great size, and an excellent three-point shooter. He had some outstanding games this year, and he has a lot of upside physically as well. So he'll be a fine addition to Clemson, and just watching him play and knowing that he went to Notre Dame on the front end of this, I'm sure he'll fit right into what Brad Brunell, the standards that he expects and what he develops each year with his team, and it looks like he's got to bring 9 or 10 guys in again. But that's a great starting point in terms of a wing scorer, shooting guard.
And these two that South Carolina have, Corey Mincy, who is signed, and Camden Heide, who is committed, maybe signing most any time, out of Texas, 6'4", Mincy 6'2", out of George Mason. You get a chance to see them much at all this season?
I didn't see Mincy this season, but knowing him from the past, I think he started off. Did he start at Presbyterian out of high school?
Yes.
He's going to be an older guard. He's going to give you some ability to score and defend. South Carolina is going to really need that at the point combo guard position. I think that's a really, really good evaluation. In a really good addition out of the portal. We'll see how he responds to the top of the SEC. It'll be difficult, but I think he's a good player, and they probably didn't have to spend a tremendous amount of money, and because they probably are in a position where they got to use their money very, very wisely as they move forward here to try to build their roster.
How about Camden Heide from Texas? You see much of him during the season? 6'4", supposedly excellent outside shooter?
You know what? I only saw him a little bit this season, and he had started at Iowa, I believe. Did he start at Iowa, Phil? And then to Texas.
No, it wasn't. I'll have to look it up. It wasn't Iowa. But go ahead, I'll look that up and come back to you.
But he was a 1 year guy at Texas. Didn't get a ton of minutes at Texas. He is he's a wing guard. Had really good 3-point numbers coming into Texas.
Mm-hmm. It was Purdue. It was Purdue where he started.
Purdue, yeah. Purdue, and in fact, I think he played very well against Purdue. He might even have made the shot that I watched so many games.
Yeah.
But that almost knocked Purdue out or beat Purdue. I can't remember if Texas beat Purdue or not.
Yeah.
But he's got good size for position. He can make a shot. I think Serta's got a little bit more upside, but that's a nice addition too. He can make some 3-pointers for you, and he's got some age on him. He's got to be, 21, 22 years old. There's not much room for 18 or 19-year-olds, high school freshmen coming in here to being able to help at the Power 5 level. So I think both those guards will help the backcourt, and they got to come up with a 5-man. I hope we can get the big kid out of SMU or something like that.
Nope, missed on him. He's going to Indiana.
Okay. And
Alan Stack is going to Cincinnati. They've sort of focused, according to Jamie Shaw, who I know you probably know, they are going to likely get Alexis Belioxis from Wisconsin, 6'10".
Okay. I watched SMU and the big kid from SMU, and ends up at Indiana. I would love to see to secure that. Had a good year at SMU, not a great year, but he's a legitimate Power 5 starting center. And like we started this out earlier today, Power 5 starting centers with numbers, they're sitting out there right now getting paid a lot of money. I saw the big kid from Georgia, who had a really good year, just left, and he's gone to Miami, and I heard the figure was close to $4 million. So it's if it's $3 million, it's unbelievable. But if it reached $4 million, a 6'10" center who can play and move and block shots, and the money's out there. They're commanding it because it becomes supply and demand.
Yep. Coach, fantastic stuff as always. We'll catch up with you next week. We'll see what developments happen between now and then, and look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Phil. You guys have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Ken Potosnak here on Sports Talk, Hardcore Hardwood. I tell you, Bergie, I'm coming for your job. Alexis Belioxis.
You did very well. Yeah, and I'm assuming that this is a situation that Lamont Paris may have actually helped recruit him since he ended up in Wisconsin. Paris's ties to, it's been a while, obviously, but his ties with Wisconsin, I'm sure, probably helped a little bit.
I guess. I don't know if anything helps but money in the free agent market.
Maybe so.
Be right back.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
This spring, Founders Federal Credit Union is giving you a fresh start. Open or access your home equity line of credit and get 4.99% APR on funds drawn from April 1st through May 31st. That's more in your pocket for home improvements or even that vacation you've been dreaming about. The possibilities are endless. Imagine a fresh start this spring with financial flexibility and peace of mind. But hurry, this special offer ends May 31st. 4.99% promotional APR expires December 31st, 2026. APR will then revert to the standard variable APR, currently 6.75% to 11.75%. Plus, you'll enjoy competitive rates designed to fit your budget. Don't miss this chance to turn your home's equity into something memorable. Relax, your HELOC just got more powerful. Visit foundersfcu.com/HELOC for more information. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. See website for details.
All right, Clemson survived a little bit of an issue in the bottom of the first. Scoreless going to the top of the second. Virginia had a couple of guys on base in the first, but they couldn't get them in. Let's see here. They got leadoff single, couple of strikeouts, another single, put runners on the corners, stolen base, made it second and third, but then a strikeout. So he struck out the side around a couple of base runners.
That is a typical Aiden Canuck line, isn't it? A bunch of strikeouts, so it means he's going to throw a bunch of pitches, probably won't make it out of the 6th or 7th inning, but may, when he leaves the game, may have the lead because he is as crafty as anybody at figuring ways to get out of jams.
Yeah. Tigers had a threat, too, in the top of the first with one out. McClatty single, stole second. Savoy walked, but then a couple of strikeouts ended it. Scoreless, Clemson and Virginia in the top of the second. When we come back, we're going to hear from the leader here at the RBC Heritage, Ludwig Oberg, then recruiting, then Todd Ellis. Then we'll hear from Andrew Novak, who is among the front runners. Only 2 shots out of the lead after round number 1. Much more to come. Thursday edition Sports Talk Media Network.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. We are clear this evening, the low dipping down to 63. Tomorrow, just like today, sunshine 91 the high. For Saturday, it's our warmest day, 94 the high, to go with a blend of sunshine with some clouds. Sunday, we're cooler, high of 78, to go with a 20% chance we get a much needed shower. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Explore the world with the 31st Annual Columbia International Festival, April 18th and 19th at the State Fairgrounds with free parking. Experience over 100 national exhibits, cuisines from around the world, an international bazaar, a global fashion show, an Olympic-style flag ceremony, and performers from around the globe. Now partnering with the SC250 Revolutionary Discovery Center. For tickets and more information, visit cifonline.org. That's cifonline.org.
Of the truth. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military has widened its efforts beyond the blockade of Iran's ports. It's allowing its forces around the world to stop any ship tied to Tehran or those suspected of carrying supplies that could help its government. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said Thursday that the U.S. would be targeting vessels in other areas like the Pacific that had left before the blockade began earlier this week. A 10-day ceasefire announced by President Trump and agreed on by Lebanon and Israel has started. Barrages of gunshots rang out across Beirut early Friday as residents fired into the air to celebrate the beginning of the truce. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 115 points, the Nasdaq rose 86, the S&P advanced 18. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you tired of that dripping faucet driving you crazy? Is your drain doing more of a gurgle than a flow? Don't despair. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is here to save your day. Serving our community as locally owned plumbing experts, Franklin Plumbing tackles everything from minor leaks to major clogs. And we're talking fast, friendly, reliable service. They respect your home. They respect your wallet. Josh and his team offer upfront pricing, and that's important. This team I'm talking about, they're fully licensed. They're insured technicians. They're ready for any plumbing crisis that you might encounter, whether it's routine maintenance, a stubborn blockage, or a total plumbing overhaul. They'll get the job done right the first time. They've been out to my home, my brother's home, even his business. I'm comfortable, very comfortable, bragging on Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Stop letting plumbing problems disrupt your life. Call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning today and experience the difference that true expertise makes. Visit the website, franklinplumbing.sc.com, or give them a call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Discover the seamless blend of comfort and style with Lexington Discount Homes. With over 30 years of excellence in the housing industry, our focus is on delivering your dream home with unparalleled customer service. Explore a variety of designs tailored to meet any preference and budget. Drop by our showroom at 1847 Augusta Highway to witness the craftsmanship of a Lexington home firsthand, or explore online through a comprehensive virtual tour at LexingtonDiscountHomes.com. Choose comfort, choose style, choose Lexington Discount Homes.
Here's something big banks don't advertise. They don't work for you.
At Mid-Carolina Credit Union, we do, because we're owned by our members, not shareholders. I'm Dean Scarborough. We may not be the biggest financial institution in our market. We do have the biggest heart. Come in and try us on for size. You might be surprised just how well we fit.
For a credit union that does work for you, Mid-Carolina Credit Union. Bank where you belong.
Mid-Carolina CU, federally insured by the NCUA, an equal housing lender, NMLS 403334.
When you think of family, you think of hugs and lots of love. That's what your loved one will find when they move to Oakley Village for assisted living or memory care. You can rest assured your family members will participate in engaging activities, have exceptional care, and all their needs met. You gain peace of mind that comes from family taking care of family. Call Oakley Village today at 803-969-8168 and see how you too can join a community that feels like family. Or you can reach us online at oakleyvillagelexington.com.
All right, we got recruiting coming up in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for that. Once again, here the RBC Heritage first-round leader is one of the world's top golfers, Ludwig Åberg, 8 under par, 63 for him. It was a bogey-free round, and he didn't have to make a lot of long putts, but he was very good on the greens. I think he was among the leaders hitting greens in regulation, hitting fairways, all that kind of good stuff. Here he is talking to, what they do here is they have an interview area off the 18th, and someone from the PGA acts as a moderator. In this particular case, this person, I think it was a female, asked all the questions. Maybe there weren't any other media in there, or this is just the part that we have, but here he is talking about his round, and then there'll be some follow-up questions.
Obviously, scoring-wise, it was a really good day. Anytime you are bogey-free and you make 8 birdies, it's a good day. I felt like the highlight for me was definitely my irons and my approach play. I felt like that was really positive. Felt like I was hitting the flights that I tried to do. I was on the correct side of the flag, those kind of things that that I really like to see. And then a few putts went in on the back 9 that I didn't really do on the front. So overall, super pleased with today.
How were the changes to the course, and is there anything today that you hadn't noticed earlier on in the week?
Yeah, not a ton, to be fair. They made some subtle changes, not a lot. I feel like the only place where the golf course is actually played different would be the second shot on 5. That bank used to be a little bit steeper down to the right, whereas now it's a little bit flatter, and you can be a little bit more aggressive on that right side. But I felt like overall the greens rolling really nice, very subtle, and I think the changes were good.
Was there a moment heading into the back 9 where you kind of just, kicked it into gear, you locked in, or was it just you just kept progressively getting better?
Yeah, I think so. I made a nice putt on 10. It was a tricky read, kind of up and over double breaker, and that was really nice. Made a good up and down on 11, and then 2 good swings on 12 to make birdie. But it was nice to see the putt on 14 go in. It was the longest putt I've made today, I think, and obviously hit the right shot, short left, and then a good putt to end it off.
You had several top 5 finishes. You're playing amazing going into the Masters, and then had a good week. How are you sustaining that level of play this week?
I think obviously coming off last week, I felt like I was playing well, but made some silly mistakes that kind of prevented me from having a real chance. But I also felt like, in the grand scheme of things, I was swinging it nice, I was moving it nice, so I didn't have to prepare that much in terms of my golf swing on Monday through Wednesday. And I felt like good golf was in there. So to me, this week is more about sort of mentally being ready, mentally being charged, and coming off a couple of tough weeks. But hopefully I'll be ready to go this weekend as well.
Okay, there you go. Ludwig Oberg, the English edition. He was number 1 in strokes gained. That's how good he was today. Number 1 in driving distance at 332 yards per drive. Longest drive was 345 yards. He hit roughly 78% of the greens. That was tied for second. So the things that you have to do, he did. And that's why he's in the lead at 8 under par. Clemson's taken a 2-0 lead on Virginia, top of the second. Luke Gaffney with a 2-run homer for the Tigers. And let's get to the recruiting report now. Here on Sports Talk, it is brought to you by Seawell's. Big day tomorrow. Of course, we had a roast beef Thursday today. And Plummer, I think tomorrow we got some good old-fashioned brisket.
That is correct, and you also have Southern Fried Chicken.
Is there any other kind?
There is. I guess you could have Northern Fried Chicken.
That's not the same.
Have you ever had Northern Fried Chicken? Because I have.
You ever hear people say Western Fried Chicken or Northern Fried Chicken? It's Southern. It's Southern Fried Chicken. It's a Southern delicacy.
Well, we also talk about the Italian lasagna. There are other types of lasagnas.
None that I would
eat. It's like going into a restaurant around here and ordering tea. You don't have to say sweet tea. You know it's sweet tea.
Yes, and you know it's
Southern Fried Chicken is the only kind.
Yes, there's also fried pork chops and teriyaki glazed salmon. That's all tomorrow at Seawell's.
All right, make sure you call Seawell's at 803-771-7385 and get them on board to handle that big event that needs the very best in catering for you. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. First of all, let's do football. Wide receiver DJ Huggins, 5'11", 165 of Kennesaw, Georgia. South Carolina lost the commitment of receiver Jaden Kelly Murray, for whatever reason you want to believe. But they're all in on wide receiver DJ Huggins of Kennesaw. He was there to see the Gamecocks March 21st. He was there last Saturday. So he loved the energy and the way they ran around in that practice. And he likes Mike Furry, and he can play inside or outside. He's also been to Georgia and Alabama. And he was going to go to Arkansas tomorrow, but he could not get that trip worked out, so that's not going to happen. He's going back to South Carolina May 17th, Junior Day. He's got officials with Georgia June 5th, Alabama June 12th, USC June 19th. Also plans an official to Kansas, and those are the 5 standing out. And right now he says South Carolina is the favorite. 67 catches, 1,127 yards, 12 touchdowns last season. Clemson's Matt Luke, offensive line coach, is getting heavily involved with offensive lineman Quelly Fielder, 6'4", 310 out of Carrollton, Georgia. He's in the 28 class. He was in to see Clemson recently, and the Tigers are in hot pursuit. Of course, they haven't offered yet, but that'll come this summer. USC, LSU, Florida, Auburn, Miami, Nebraska, Georgia, Alabama, Colorado. They have offered him, but he was recently at Clemson, as I mentioned, and he really enjoyed visiting with Luke and watching the Clemson offense under Chad Morris. So Clemson will be a factor in his recruiting moving forward. Also in recruiting. Stand by.
Something happened, Phil? Is everything okay
I forgot to hang on a second. Say something, Plumber.
I'll give you a recap of this week's menu at Seawell's. Tuesday, we had lasagna, baked flounder fillets with mango relish and carved rosemary pork loin. That was all Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, we had sausages with peppers and onions.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. I'll continue later.
Well done.
I just forgot to get my notes. I put the same story in twice. Sorry about that. So, let's get to some notes. Clemson offensive lineman target Jimmy Callis of Pittsburgh is going to announce tomorrow Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Miami, and LSU are the finalists. South Carolina target cornerback Josh Dobson visiting Michigan today. He's also been to Clemson, Texas Tech, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Miami, and Auburn. He's going to LSU on Saturday. he has officials set with South Carolina, Auburn, A&M, and LSU. It appears that Clemson's out of the mix with him and out of the mix with cornerback Davion Jones of Cornelius, North Carolina, a teammate of Dobson. He told 24/7 Sports his updated official visit list is now Auburn on May 29th. He had thought about Clemson for that date, but he never locked that down. Last time we talked to him, he said it was a possibility, but he hadn't locked that down. So he now has, he's got Georgia on that date. Georgia, May 29th, followed by Auburn, LSU, and South Carolina. He visited all 4 of those this spring. Georgia, Auburn, LSU, South Carolina. 2028 offensive tackle Ty Wynn of Philadelphia. He plans to be at the USC Junior Day, May 17th. Clemson target offensive lineman Carter Jones. Official visit to Georgia, April 17th. Clemson target 2028 tight end Lee Steele was at Auburn today. Louisville offered 2029 quarterback Bear Woods of Westside. Clemson offered defensive end Elijah Cox, 6'5", 230 from Atlanta. He was in for a visit recently. That's the second defensive end offer by the Tigers in as many days. He has officials set with Florida State June 19th. Ole Miss also is down for an official visit with him. He also has an offer from South Carolina and has made multiple visits with the Gamecocks. Defensive tackle Antoine McCoy of St. Paul's, North Carolina, told Chad Simmons of Rivals that he favors South Carolina and Georgia at this point. He has officials to Georgia May 29th and USC on June 12th. Linebacker Brayson Albin of Madison, Alabama, received an invite to camp for South Carolina. He also plays tight end. South Carolina target offensive lineman Dewey Young was offered by Syracuse, as was Burns cornerback Aiden Wiggins. Basketball, as we mentioned, Jamie Shaw has predicted South Carolina to land 6'10" Alexis Biliaksis of Wisconsin. South Carolina to get a visit from guard Cruz Davis of Hofstra. That's according to Joe Tipton. He was a CAA Player of the Year after averaging 20 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. He visited Texas Tech. He's also looking at Kentucky and Grand Canyon. South Carolina still in the mix with free agent guard Rowan Brumbaugh. John Rothstein reported that Brumbaugh has USC, Indiana, Maryland, and SMU as his final 4. South Carolina Clemson in line for visits with 7'2" Anton Bonk of Charlotte, according to Jeff Borzello. He was at Kansas on Wednesday, has Michigan State Friday. Cincinnati and NC State are also in the mix. Guard Bryce Lindsey, who was once committed to South Carolina under Frank Martin, is moving from Vanderbilt to Indiana. And that will do it for recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. All right, after the break, Bergey's interview with Todd Ellis was going into the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. And deservedly so, because Bergey, he was one heck of a quarterback during his days at South Carolina.
There's no question. He brings up one interesting point, too, about the quarterback position in our state and this Hall of Fame. So you'll enjoy this interview, I think. He brings up some really, really fun stuff.
All right.
We're with Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and we're visiting at the brand new DNR offices at the State Farmers Market. Major, tell us more about this place.
That's right, Phil. The Department of Natural Resources has a new office located at the South Carolina Farmers Market. You can find us at 260D Epting Lane inside the Farmers Market grounds. Look for the DNR logo when you turn off of Highway 221 in West Columbia, or you can always go to the App Store on your Apple or Android device and look for Go Outdoors SC. Download the app and you can buy all of your license needs right there.
Visit GoOutdoorsSouthCarolina.com today.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Effective training is not just about lifting heavier weight. It is about producing force with control. The Tsunami Bar was developed in 2012 to enhance high-intensity workouts while helping reduce joint stress. Its flexible design creates controlled oscillation, requiring your muscles to stabilize and work together throughout each movement. This promotes greater muscle activation, improved balance, and stronger functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports is committed to continuous improvement, delivering dynamic training tools for individuals at every fitness level. Whether you are focused on long-term strength, injury prevention, or improving rotational stability for sports like golf, Tsunami Bar training supports total body performance. Discover more at tsunamibarsports.com. Visit tsunamibarsports.com. That's tsunamibarsports.com.
Now I'm going round, going round, going round, going round one more time. Said I'm going round, watch me now, one more time.
Okay, Virginia taking a 3-2 lead on Clemson as they go to the top of the third. The old 3-run homer has given the Cavaliers that lead up in Charlottesville 3-2. Top of the third. Bergie, how about you and Todd Ellis?
Yeah, enjoyed the conversation with the former Gamecock quarterback, now the radio announcer for USC. Talked a lot about his recruitment to USC, playing for Joe Morrison, and how much his death affected him. But I asked Todd, first off, exactly how does it feel to be going into the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame?
It really is. You know, I look back when I was putting my remarks together, and to think it's been 37 years since I finished at South Carolina, well, playing football. Obviously, I have an ongoing relationship with them that I'm very proud of, and it feels like, you know, some days I could still go out there, at least throw 2 or 3 passes. But being honored this later in your life for something you did 30-plus years ago is remarkable. And then I went back and looked at who has been inducted so far in the 13 years of this prestigious organization. And, you know, only Steve Fuller at Clemson is the other quarterback that's been inducted. And then players like Sterling Sharp and Harold Green, of course, from South Carolina, and all the other greats that have been brought in. And that's gotten me pumped up about the process. I've been blessed in my life, but to be associated with football in the state of South Carolina, I mean, that's what I came here to do, and that's what I'm proud of, and my law practice and my family is all I'm very proud of that, but it is so nice to be here tonight, particularly with these other inductees.
Take us back to your recruiting process. Grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm sure most of the folks that lived in your neighborhood expected you to go maybe to UNC. What was it that tipped the scales for South Carolina for you?
It's always a great question, and one that's a little complicated, but not much. And that was probably number one. I had an amazing relationship with Joe Morrison. I'm going to tell the story tonight. You know, Joe was not one of these modern-day coaches who is very gregarious, very outspoken all the time. He was an old pro. And so when he called me at 7:15 a.m. on every school day for a year to speak to me, I knew it was important to him. I just had a relationship with him that hit hard and hit well. And then I think the other thing that came out is that we had 3 great senior quarterbacks when I was coming in, and I knew that I could be redshirted and have a chance to win the job and play 4 years at a time. Mike Holt, Jim Desmond, Alan Mitchell, the timing worked out for that. And then I just, had a great relationship with Jim Washburn. I can't minimize that. The guy who recruited me was our defensive line coach, and love that. And, it kind of came down Stanford, South Carolina, Georgia I had ruled out at that time. They had the problems with the NCAA and Barbara Buttons and all that. And liked LSU a lot too, but I said if I'm going to go that far, I'm going to go all the way to Stanford. And I said, South Carolina, my parents can see me play. They can be really close. And that was kind of the deciding factor. I liked the independent schedule back then too. We played great teams from the ACC and the SEC and beyond, and so those were kind of the major factors. That's a long answer, but it was what I thought about back at the time.
What kind of impact did Coach Morrison's passing have on you?
It was one of the saddest days of my life. I guess that shows you how blessed I am. Obviously, he was one of my coaches, not a family member, but that's how close we were. We had just talked with President Holderman, literally in person, about me coming back and whether I was going to come back. That was the first year they let juniors go out in the draft. Obviously, I'd played a long time in South Carolina, a lot of games. Is the timing right for me to do that, or should I go out in the draft? Should I come back? And we had a great talk like we always did. And I just respected him so much. He was a no-nonsense guy. And, a story I may tell tonight, they'll tell you as well, is this is Joe Morrison in a nutshell. We used to practice, as you guys remember, behind the roundhouse, back on the practice fields where the softball field is now. You know it. We had back-to-back fields, so there was about 20 yards in between those two fields, and there were goalposts, obviously, on each end of those fields. And Coach Morrison's kind of practice was he would just walk back in between, watching the offense on one, watching the defense on another, smoking cigarettes during practice. And obviously he walked on the field some, but generally you could find him in between those. And one day we had an incredible storm that came up really fast, and the lightning struck the tower right by the track that was right next to our practice fields. And I mean, everybody, I've heard a lot of crazy stuff in my life, including at Williams-Brice, but when it hit, everyone hit the ground. And I looked up, and Joe was just standing there smoking a cigarette. So it was like he knew when his time was, and it was not time for him at that time. He made a deal with the devil or something. I don't know. But that summarizes to me Joe Morris. I'm not really scared. I kind of been through it all. True story. True story.
How much has being the radio play-by-play voice of the Gamecocks maybe filled that void of not being a player any longer?
God. Tremendous amount. It's hard for me to watch Panthers games and not get fired up, and I have no relationship to them at all. So with Carolina and what it means to me at the university, to be able to go and be a part of that at Williams-Brice Stadium, to go with the team when we go on the road, to know how hard they work, to watch them prepare, that's been everything in the world to me, to share and continue to love the University of South Carolina. I got my wife and my family, and everybody knows the second love in my life is Carolina football, and it's served a massive purpose in my life. Yeah.
All right, great stuff there, Bergie, with Todd Ellis going into the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame tonight. Enjoyed listening to that. Before we leave,
I had a good time with them.
Yeah, before we get out of here, I do want to get to Andrew Novak, who's a South Carolina guy from Charleston and Wofford, tied for fourth. He's 6 under. Here he is from the PGA media session after his round, talking about getting around Harbortown in good shape today.
Yeah, I thought I played great. Pretty much all aspects were good off the tee, maybe a few loose ones. I can go clean that up, but for the most part, even when I was slightly off, I was leaving myself on the proper side, so I was able to have an angle and make something happen. I thought my approach shots, my wedges, my irons were really on today. That was probably my strength of the game today, and the putter came through, and I was able to make a decent bit of opportunities. So it really was a total effort today.
In terms of style of this course and kind of what the defining characteristics are of this course, what would you say and what makes this course unique?
Yeah, this is low country golf, man. This is what I grew up on. A shout out, Wild Dunes, shout out Charleston National, Seabrook Island. Like this is what I kind of grew up playing, like tournaments on. Grew up playing when I was 10, 15 years old, whatever. So I'm very comfortable on this kind of golf. I think the thinking your way around it, the positional aspects is something I enjoy. So yeah, I do feel pretty comfortable here.
What's it mean to rep South Carolina just kind of in pro golf?
It's so cool. Every hole somebody's saying go Terriers, somebody's shouting out, my high school, Charleston, whatever. It is cool to get to come here and do that. This is absolutely a home event for me.
And what was last week like? What will you take away? I know the result might not been what you wanted, but just the whole experience.
Yeah, that's the best tournament I've ever played in. To have it not really go very well is very motivating to me because I want to get back there. I want to go play it again. I want to go play it next week. It's motivating to be there because it makes you want to be there every year.
Was there an element of being there where you're like, this is kind of one part of my dream achieved in a way?
Yes. Yeah. There was really one event growing up that I would have been, a little starstruck, like awestruck to be a part of it, and that was the one. I got my first one under my belt, and now I want to get back and, give myself a chance to go get a green jacket. I think, there's definitely something to be said for the first time struggles there. It's a lot to take in with that golf course. It is tough, but I'm excited to, give myself a chance to go back.
I tell you what, you got to like Andrew Novak because he had a 12:45 tee time today, so he had to finish up later in the day. Usually when it's a little bit tougher, he still came in at 6 under, but tomorrow he's going to go off in the morning at 9 o'clock. So going to have a chance to go off in the morning when things are maybe a little bit lighter if the conditions play the norm, and he might go really low tomorrow. We shall see, Bergie, when we come back here to Harbortown tomorrow night for round number 2 coverage and also everything else we'll be doing tomorrow night on Sports Talk. You enjoy the rest of your evening up in Greenville.
Thank you, sir. Have a good time up here. Always enjoy this event. It's so well done. I appreciate Mike Foster and the gang up here for having us again this year.
They do a terrific job. Thanks to Mike Morgan for being with us tonight. Coach Pataznak, as always. And, of course, thanks to the plumber for not messing it up too bad tonight. So that's a positive, huh? Have yourselves a great night. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.